Today, there was a moment when I stopped talking. Not because I had nothing to say, but because no one wanted to listen to my truth without judging it, so I will shut up. And I discovered that silence was not empty. It was a refuge, was rebirth. While everyone was talking, I learned to speak to myself with compassion. While their voices pointed to me, I learned to distinguish my own voice. Among all the noise, no longer sought to defend myself. I just wanted to understand myself, and in that sacred act, my soul began to heal without anyone noticing. Silence taught me that no word was able to reveal to me that the pain needs no more. Witnesses need presence. I sat alone. Sometimes hours. I watched the dawn as if it were my first time. And in every ray, a part of me returned. Had lost a lot of titles, links, the idea of who he was, but in that losing, I found myself. I was not a victim. I was a heart in reconstruction, and like everything that comes back up, began with a foundation of silence. Today, I embrace the silence that sustained me. Like us, if you have ever spoken to yourself voice and you finally heard yourself, follow and share this chapter if you know that someone else needs. Stop screaming to start listening to his soul. I learned that not all voids are there to be filled. Some are there to remind you of what you lost, and others to show you what you no longer need. For a while, I thought that noise protected the legend. Phil's social commitments, the obligatory conversations, but it was all a costume. An elegant way of not feeling. When everything fell down, I stayed with me, and then I knew that the real terror was not loneliness, was not knowing what to do with it. Sitting on the edge of the bed and heard the ticking clock tack as if dialing not only time, but my reconstruction. Every second a brick. Every smile, a stronger wall, every tear. The water that cleaned what was no longer me. Silence began to speak to me. He told me things he had forgotten about me. He showed me dreams he had buried and hugged me like no one else did. It was there. When I knew that silence was not a punishment, was a privilege, direct access to what I really am. When I try not to prove anything to anyone, and in that state of truth, naked, I started painting from the root. Not to go back to what it used to be, but to become what I finally dare to be. Comment: silence revealed to me what the noise was hiding from me. Like us, if you ever understood that, being in peace with you is more valuable than being surrounded by people, and shared this chapter with whom he needs to remember that he is not alone, is just about to meet. No one taught me to be silent without feeling broken. Society applauds. The one who shouts to the one who advances without looking back, the one who fills his life with noise. But I chose to stop. It wasn't easy. Silence confronted me with all that I had away, under the carpet, the insecurities I ignored, the betrayals I did not cry, the decisions I made out of fear and not love. I had to look in front of that wounded woman and not to look away, not even when to see it. It hurt more than what broke it. But something miraculous happened in that stillness. Stop speaking gave me back the power to feel. And what I felt was real, raw, sacred touch bottom. Without falling into despair, because silence sustained me. Did not give me immediate answers, but it taught me how to ask more sincere questions. Who I am when I no longer try to please. What I want to keep when everything is gone. That I am no longer willing to return. There is no paradise more honest than silence. There is no deeper healing than occurs when no one sees you and you finally decide to see yourself. I was my witness, my rescuer, my own altar. And even if the world didn't know it, I had started my most important revolution, to inhabit me completely. Comments: the silence returned to me. Like us, if you have ever secretly healed in the middle, out of nowhere, and you came back with everything and share. This episode, if you know someone needs, learn to listen to each other without fear. In silence, I learned to separate pain from drama. Because it is one thing to suffer from another, it is very different to prolong that suffering just so as not to confront you. At the exchange, I had done it. Had told me soft versions of what I experienced. I hid behind phrases, how I looked good when I was getting undone inside. But in the absence of other people's words, I could no longer lie to myself. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because when you stop blaming, you realize how much power there was. And that's where the begins. I didn't care anymore that he had left me. What hurt was to have abandoned myself so many times before that. In the name of love, I got lost. In the name of duty, I kept silent. And in the name of perfection, I annulled myself, but no longer. Silence forced me to look at my mirror without ornaments. And for the first time, I felt no shame. I felt tenderness. There, I was broken, yes, but alive and ready to be reborn, even if it was scarred. because I understood something powerful. Scars are not a defect, are proof that I survived, and even more so that I decided to stay. Every night in silence was a promise of life, every dawn without words. It was a soft cry of hope, he comments. My scars tell the story of my return. Like us, if you have ever been reborn in silence while the world thought you had, surrendered and shares this chapter with someone who needs to remember that. Healing can also be an act of sacred intimacy. I didn't tell anyone, but there was nights when I hugged so tightly that my arms trembled, not out of fear, but for the intensity of feeling. To feel that I had avoided for so long. Because it hurts, you know. It hurts to stop running away and face yourself. It hurts. Remember everything you endured in the name of a love that was not love, but dependence. It hurts to assume that it was you who left yourself for the end. Again and again. But silence witnessed my surrender. Not the surrender of surrendering, but to release the character he had held for years. The strong woman, the perfect wife, the one who does not complain, the one who does not cry, and when I let go of that mask, I felt relief. No one applauded me, no cheers. But inside me, an old part, I sighed. We are finally being honest. That honesty saved me, because it is impossible to heal when you live playing a role that does not represent you. I began to talk to myself sweetly, to hold my hand as I would have done with a friend, to become the type of company I have always expected from others, and without realizing it, that silence was transformed into a voice, a new voice, own strong and weak. Today, I no longer scream to be heard. Today, I speak calmly because I listen to myself. I don't ignore myself anymore. I hug myself. Like us, if you stopped acting and really chose yourself and share this chapter with whom he needs a space to stop pretending and start living with your soul in peace. You don't know how many. Sometimes I felt that if I didn't speak, I would explode, but I learned that silence is not garbage, is redirection. Instead of throwing out words like "Dogus," I turned them into prayers. In intimate prayers that only God and I knew. The world was asking me for explanations, but my soul was only asking understanding and sensitivity in the quietest part of my being. There I discovered a different love. One who does not beg for attention, who does not negotiate. Its essence that is not fragmented for fear of abandonment. A love that is not said to be inhabited. And that love I finally felt for myself. I started to walk slower, to taste the coffee in silence, to listen to the rain as if it were a song written just for me. Life did not become perfect. Yes, but it does move, because I understood that peace does not come when everything is right, but when you are well. Even though everything else is broken, my inner voice is back. Soft, Serena, but so firm that it could no longer be ignored. He told me, you no longer need hearts to be real. You no longer have to prove your worth. You are already complete. And I believed it for the first time. I really believed it. Comments my silence taught me to love myself unconditionally. Like us, if you have ever discovered your value when the world stopped applauding you, and share this chapter with anyone who needs to remember. That true self-love begins when you choose to be your home. I began to look at my days with different eyes. Not from the emergency, but from the cell. Every little act of combing my hair into deep breathing, preparing my food, looking at the sky became a ritual of presence. And I understood that I was not alone. I never was. Because when the noise goes away, when the external voices are turned off, when there is no one to applaud or criticize, that you entered the holiest temple, and there I was, waiting for me with patience, with tenderness. My soul did not reproach me for taking so long. She hugged me as if I had never left and cried. Not of sadness, but of relief. Because I finally understood everything I was looking for out there was already inside me. My peace, my courage, my address. Silence was my map, my compass, my altar. And now, every time the world demands of me noise, I close my eyes and return to that serene space where I discovered that I don't need any more to be enough. Come in, come back to me, and there everything. Give it a like if you ever found out that being at peace with you is the top highest that can be achieved, and shares this chapter with someone who is looking for answers outside when the greatest revelation already inhabits him inside. Hello. Today I am no longer in a hurry to fill voids. I respect you. I honor you because I understood that there are silences that are not to be broken, but to be understood. And in that understanding, the woman I am now was born. I don't need any noise to feel alive. I don't need validation to know what I am worth. I don't need conditioned love because I have already learned to love myself completely. And if I ever get lost again, I know I don't have to run, just stop myself from breathing. Listen and come back to me because I already know the way. And that road is not outside. Is here where the soul speaks without words, and the truth needs no explanation. I'm back. Not like the one who left, but as the one who learned to stay with herself. And now I know the silence was not the end. Was the purest beginning of a life that is finally mine. Comments, my silence has become my revolution. Like us, if you were reborn in the quietest moment of your life, and share this chapter with someone who needs. Remember that sometimes the greatest rejection occurs when you choose. Listen to you, subscribe so you don't get lost. The next chapters and shares this story with the one who has not yet assumed power, healer of his own inner voice.